Hey friend, welcome to the Badass is the New Black podcast, where our motto is done is better than perfect. I'm Chrissy Chin, here on a mission to help you grow your business online, turn your leads into lifelong customers, and scale to six figures and beyond so you can work less and enjoy and earn a whole lot more. Most importantly, I'm a laid-back wife, a mom, a friend who started as a peds nurse, turned network marketer, and now a serial entrepreneur. This podcast is for ambitious people with an idea, a vision, but no idea how to get there. On this podcast, I'll give actionable steps to keep you moving forward while you learn new business strategies, better systems and processes, marketing, sales, all the things you need to build and scale a blissful business that keeps your pocketbooks growing. Grab a beverage, open up your notes app, and let's get to it. Welcome back to the Badass is the New Black podcast. I'm your host, Chrissy Chin. Today, we're going to talk about rebranding. What is a rebrand? Why would you rebrand? When would you rebrand? And I'm also going to give you a tip on how to avoid broken links and backlinks if you rebrand your domain. Before we dive in, I want to invite you to an upcoming masterclass that we are hosting called How to Automate Your Business and Increase Sales While You Sleep. This masterclass is for entrepreneurs, coaches, service providers, those in direct sales. Maybe you want to expand your revenue streams with your own offer, and you want to work more efficiently in your business. You want to learn how to double your leads while spending more time with your family instead of more time working. You want to work more efficiently in your business. You want to learn how to double those leads while spending that time with your family. So in this masterclass, I'm going to help you uncover those sneaky hidden obstacles that are preventing you from turning those prospects into paying customers and exactly what to do about it. And we will cover how to confidently automate, streamline, and systemize your business. If you do not have a website yet, or you have a website that you've just put a couple things on there, but you've not really optimized it to its full capacity, then this masterclass is also for you. You can go to kncreative.com/masterclass and grab your free seat today. That is happening towards the end of February. So let's dive into this topic of when discussing this rebrand for coaches and service providers and direct sales and those in the course creation industry. I want to cover some of the bullet points on, what is a rebrand, why you rebrand, and when you should rebrand. So let's start with the what is a rebrand. So a rebrand is really just the process of changing and updating the visual identity of your brand, the messaging in your brand, and the overall perception of your brand. You could be rebranding everything in your brand, all of that stuff I just listed out, your logo, your domain, or maybe you just rebrand the visuals of it, or maybe you just rebrand the messaging, or maybe you just give your logo a little updated look. If you didn't notice, we just rebranded. We rebranded the name of the business, so the logo of the business, the visuals of the business. Why? Because thechrissy.chin.com is no longer just The Chrissy Chin. And actually, it hasn't been The Chrissy Chin for a while now. It's been Claire and I together for over a year while we work on, inside our programs, we team up and I do all of things marketing, sales, copy, strategy, and Claire does all things design. So we've been working together for a very long time in actually both of the businesses that we have, but the brand was the Chrissy Chin. And if I'm being totally honest, we didn't rebrand the name sooner because we just had a lot going on. We were doing a lot of creation. And so the thought of doing a rebrand felt a little exhausting, if I'm being honest. And I had this thing looming over my head in terms of if we rebrand the name, because obviously, together we're not the Chrissy Chin, right? It's going to break years worth of links. And I didn't have the right solution for that until it was like, okay, you know what? We've got to rebrand this. We really need Claire to be presented on the website. I really want to position us as this sister duo brand and not just me. I think that is actually impactful for the brand. It's something that sets us apart from other brands. There's like two for the price of one, really, because you're getting both of us. and our different specialties and what we do and all of that. And so, I just kept thinking, oh my gosh, like it's going to break years and years of podcast links and on YouTube videos and all of that. And then I turned to an amazing friend, one of the founders of, or the founder of Get Oiling and AttractWell. And I was like, what do we do about this? And he was like, oh, don't you know about redirect.pizza? And I was like, no, actually, I don't know about redirect.pizza. Tell me more. And he was like, it's a simple service. And actually we could use the free version. We didn't need all of the other things that the paid plans offered. And literally I just put in thechristychin.com and I say, now the new website is kncreative.com. And then it says, okay, great. Anytime anyone types in the old URL or clicks on an old link, we'll just redirect it to KNC Creative. And it does include the backlink. So before, I only knew how to go into GoDaddy, which is where we host our domains, and do a redirect, right? Like, oh, okay, I want the Chrissy Chin to just redirect to this other website, but that wouldn't handle all of the backlinks. And by the backlinks, I mean, when you have your website.com and then, or whatever it is, .us or .co, and then you have that backslash and then whatever comes after it. So for some of our freebies, it was thechristychin.com/profit. Right now it's going to be kncreative.com/profit. And so I wanted those to be able to forward on as well. So this redirect.pizza allows you to do that. And so once we figured that out, we were like, oh, okay, easy peasy. This is just a matter of updating the visuals, picking a name, and doing a logo. So that's what we did. We picked a new name for the business. It's now KNC Creative. We updated the logo because that of course makes sense. And then we did get new colors and fonts to just up level the brand. There was one color Claire didn't love on the brand. I'm like, you know what? Just that's fine. Do whatever you want to do. You're a genius with design. I love everything that you create. So just take it and run with it, whatever you want for the new colors. And she knew, what the vibe was that we wanted people to have. And we wanted, an upscale feel, right? Because we do a lot of things and we can really help you in a lot of areas. So, it can involve modifying elements. So like I said, such as your logo, your color palette, your typography, your tagline, your brand voice, or a new image. I've gone through several rebrands, and so we can talk about why I did those. But in this rebrand, we really didn't update the copy much because we were still doing what we're doing. So the copy and the messaging really didn't change. Our ideal customer was the same and all of that, and I'll talk about that later. So it was really just the name and the visuals for this new rebrand. But why would you rebrand? So the reasons that I have rebranded over time, and we've done rebrands in both of the businesses, and I can dive into some of these like as I'm going through the bullets as well. But one of the reasons was when I first launched my personal website, The Chrissy Chin, I didn't quite know what my identity was at that time, or, visually I didn't have like a strong pull towards anything. So I just had my virtual assistant at the time just kind of whip something up. And she, I told her kind of what I was thinking, but she just picked out some colors and things like that. And I was definitely living by my motto, done is better than perfect. Let's get something up and going. Let's not hold having the perfect fonts and colors hold us back. And so I used that website for, at least a year, if not two. And then as my business really started to grow there, I really wanted to upscale and up level, and I just felt like a rebrand was time. I didn't love the colors. I had kind of grown out of those colors over time, and so I just wanted a new fresh feel. I had more of an identity of myself and my brand at this point. I was definitely also living by my with action comes clarity motto. So we got something up and running, and then I got a lot more clarity on the brand and who I wanted to serve and how I wanted people to feel when they came to the brand. And so it needed an up level, and so I rebranded. And then just, of course, like I mentioned, this next rebrand that we did was because it wasn't going to be the Chrissy Chin Show anymore, and it was going to be Chrissy and Claire. So hence KNC Creative, and because we help creatives and do a lot of different things. But the messaging, our ideal customer, that has all really stayed the same. So those are kind of the few reasons why we have rebranded. Here's a few other reasons why you might want to rebrand. So possibly to attract a new target audience. Rebranding can help businesses appeal to different demographics or market segment. So for example, Old Spice, I know you know Old Spice, they were traditionally known as a brand that catered to older men with its classic and conservative image. But in 2010, they launched a highly successful rebranding campaign to target a younger demographic. So the Old Spice Guy campaign featured humorous and edgy commercials that really showcased a new, more youthful image for the brand. And it was positioned to draw in the younger male and not cater to this older generation. And the campaign was very successful because of the evidence of the sales and now their demographic in terms of a wider range of demographic in age. Another reason why you might want to rebrand is to stay current and relevant. So a brand may need to evolve to keep up with changing trends or customer preferences or industry standards. This may also be because you have evolved. And again, maybe you're operating in the beginning with a done is better than perfect, with action comes clarity. So you start with something, and as you evolve and change and you want to stay current and relevant, you adapt as well. And so you rebrand. Instagram is a great example of this. In 2016, Instagram underwent a rebrand to update its visual identity and better reflect its evolution from a simple photo sharing app. Remember when you could just put one picture on Instagram? And to a platform for creativity and expression. And so it got a new logo. It featured a colorful gradient background and a simplified camera icon. So that brand shifted is there to stay relevant. To differentiate from competitors, rebranding can help a business stand out and establish a unique position in the market. We had to do this with Grow Workspace, the other brand that we have. Grow Workspace worked with Get Oiling. So Get Oiling is kind of like a Kajabi, a hosting platform, and a lot of the Young Living brand partners use Get Oiling specifically to host their website and have their email CRM system. Well, Get Oiling used the exact same teal, and I do believe that this was just a coincidence. We basically used the exact same teal blue in our branding together. And we both catered to the Young Living community, and we both started with a G. And so actually it was quite confusing for people with Grow and Get Oiling. They're like they're thinking they're talking about Get Oiling, but they're really talking about Grow Workspace or vice versa. And it was just a lot of confusion. So when it came time to where we thought about a rebrand and we wanted to, again, up level our look and our vibe, we were like, and this is going to be really great because we're going to change the colors. We still stuck with blues, but we stuck with really deep blues. So side by side, they didn't look like the exact same company. So that is another reason why you may want to rebrand. You may realize like, oh my gosh, this, not even a competitor, but they were a complementary service. So all of our people that use Grow Workspace want to use Get Oiling if they want a website. So we promote them a lot. So in the promotion, we really wanted to make it stand out and feel different. Does that make sense? Hopefully it makes sense. Okay. Another reason you may want to rebrand is to overcome a negative reputation. If a brand has faced a public relations issue or negative associations, rebranding can rebuild trust and improve perception. Now, maybe with your service-based business, your personal brand, hopefully you don't come into this where you have a big PR nightmare, but there have been a couple companies that have. Volkswagen had a Dieselgate scandal that happened. So in 2015, they rebranded, which resulted in, basically when they had this Dieselgate, they lost a lot of trust from people and the reputation of the company went down. So as a part of rebranding, they adopted a new logo and messaging focused on transparency and sustainability and the shift towards electric vehicles. Uber also underwent a rebranding in 2018, and they redefined their brand image and addressed public concerns. And so the new logo and visual identity aim to convey a more mature and a more trustworthy image, reflecting the company's commitment to safety and reliability, because there were some concerns about that. Both of them kept their same name, right? But they updated their logo and their messaging, and the, kind of their tagline. Whereas Philip Morris International, which that you may not know that name, that's okay. They're a tobacco company, and they underwent a rebrand in 2023 to distance themselves from the negative connotations associated with the tobacco industry. And so PMI changed its whole name. They didn't even want to be associated with the name before. So here's an example of like, okay, in this rebrand, we got to change our name because we really need to shift gears. And so now they're the Altria Group, and they reposition to be a broader consumer goods company, really emphasizing its diversification into products beyond cigarettes, such as food and beverage. And so that rebranding aimed to shift the public perception and highlight the company's focus on responsible business practices. Okay, so they changed the name and everything, started offering more goods. So they weren't just like this tobacco, they were food, beverage, and all of that. You may want to change your branding or shift your branding to reflect a change in business focus. Rebranding may be necessary when the business expands its offering or changes its core values or shifts its target market. So this might be a more, for those of you listening, course creators, coaches, those in direct sales who want to expand into new offers. I think this one is probably mostly the reason for you that you have new offerings, or you're just learning more about yourself, and so you shift in the rebranding. A great example of this is Stanley. Who doesn't know the Stanley cups here that are all the rage? This company's been around for 100 years, and they targeted men in construction and hikers. And they had like 3, I think, like brown, gray, like very masculine colors. And so this is basically the shift in the target market, right? Like they didn't change their offerings, they didn't change their cup or their core values, but there was a shift in the target market. A female blogger shared about this Stanley, and it sort of blew up starting from that blogging medium, and all these women started wanting Stanleys. And then, of course, social media, and a couple of people posted, and it went viral. And so they didn't rebrand with a name or anything like that, but they then added a whole new color palette and new marketing to target this new female audience. And they have just blown up like crazy because of this. And it wasn't something that they were like, hey, let's think about a rebrand. Let's think about a new demographic. Like Old Spice, they wanted to target a new demographic. They wanted to bring in the younger male to generate more sales. Whereas Stanley, this sort of happened organically. And the smart CEO was like, yeah, we're going to lean into this, and we are going to adjust, and we're going to create more marketing and expand the product line with colors to adapt to this new audience. So maybe it might happen organically where you're like, okay, let's lean into this rebrand a bit. Apple is another company in the late 1990s when Steve Jobs returned as the CEO. They shifted their focus from computers. Remember back in the day when I might be dating myself, when it was just computers. And then they rebranded from computers to the consumer electronics and introduced the iconic The Think Different campaign, which helped establish Apple as the leader in innovation and design and not just computers anymore. So still kept Apple, and just like some of these different shifts, right? Different marketing campaigns, different taglines. So as a coach, you may start offering another service. So maybe you want to rebrand. Like I mentioned before, in direct sales, a lot of people in direct sales kind of consume the identity of their company. And they sort of just take that on, because most of us, like I started in direct sales as well, I didn't know anything about marketing and branding and anything like that. So it's just sort of like, okay, I'm just selling this company's products and sort of kind of with that brand. But once you realize that maybe you want to expand the brand, rebrand, you want to get online, you want to stand out from other people, then you realize, ooh, there's an opportunity here to have my own identity, my own brand, and just a part of that brand is promoting these products that I love. And then maybe you want to have some type of course or a workshop or a coaching program that also supports the people that are purchasing your products. And so this rebrand happens, or where you really like rediscover yourself, and so you want to modify the brand. When would you rebrand? Basically similar times as what we just talked about. Like, why would you rebrand? So when would you do it? If the market changes, if the target market shifts, if rebranding can help the business adapt and appeal to a new audience, that's when you would do it. Outside of, I think, our audience, but I wanted to just include it, like mergers and acquisitions. So when two companies merge together, then maybe a rebrand. And that was sort of like why this rebrand just happened as well, because it wasn't just me anymore. It was Claire. It wasn't two businesses coming together, but now we were two people instead of one. So if you start your business with a partner and then you break off from each other, that might be when you want to rebrand, because now you're just solo, right? It's kind of like the music industry, like the boy bands, like NSYNC, where they're all together, and then Justin Timberlake, wants to go off and do his own thing and sing his own songs. And so it's kind of like this rebrand. And then he has a whole new identity. So that could be another time in your brand and business. If you either bring people on to your brand, then you might rebrand, or if you remove people from your brand. If you're outdated branding, the visuals or the identity or the message feels outdated or no longer resonates with that target audience, it may be time for a rebrand. There has been a lot of things that have shifted over the last few years in terms of what people are really focusing on, what's acceptable, what's not. And so if you feel like your brand is definitely evolving and shifting with that, then that might be time for a rebrand if you feel outdated. Okay. So we'll end on that. Okay. Expansion and diversification. So when a business expands its offering, so I mentioned that before, kind of in like when or why. So if you're offering now, done for you services, or you were doing done for you services or one-on-one coaching, and now you're expanding into other offers, maybe this could be a time for a fresh new start. But don't think that you have to just it's been a year, I've got to rebrand my business, right? There are brands that have definitely really stayed true to their brand, big brands. They don't change branding because they really want to establish their mark in the industry and don't want to shift. So really just kind of some of these pivotal moments, if they feel outdated. I always think of like McDonald's, where it had the two golden arches, and now with the McDonald's restaurants, they have like the one golden arch. So, right, like it became more modernized. They're trying to get customers back because they've lost so many customers with all the food stuff in there. So yeah, repositioning. If a brand wants to change its position in the market or differentiate itself from competitors, rebranding. So that's where I mentioned like us with Grow Workspace with Get Oiling. We really wanted to differentiate ourselves from weren't necessarily weren't competitors, but just that the brand that is used closely together. It's important to note that rebranding should be approached strategically. Right? We're not just like, oh, feeling like a rebrand. Like, what's the strategy behind it? Because it does take a lot of effort and time to rebrand something. So really the strategy behind it, careful planning to ensure that it aligns with your business goals and effectively communicates really the desired message to that target audience. So the rebrand is really to benefit the business. So if you don't feel like there is the strategy where it's going to benefit the business in some capacity, then maybe it's not time to do a rebrand, because it can be a lot of work. The process that I recommend for a rebrand is really the same process that I recommend for a new brand starting out. So kind of going back to the beginning, you'll move through the steps faster because you've been through this once and you have more clarity on your identity and what you want in your brand. But revisiting the mission and the vision of the business. Claire and I did this in the rebrand when we were working through this last one. Like, are things the same? Are we still targeting the same audience? Are our offers going to be the same? Is our mission the same? Is our vision the same? Looking at the ideal customer. Yep, same person. Okay, great. Are our offers the same? Yep, offers are the same. Okay, great. We're just changing colors, logos, fonts, and the name of our brand. So looking at the messaging and the copy, if you have a different ideal customer avatar, if you're like, oh, I am doing a big shift. I worked with someone recently that, used to teach infertility or how to overcome infertility naturally. And then she shifted to design. She's helping people do design work. That is a huge shift. And so a rebrand there in terms of messaging and bringing those together, that really warrants a rebrand in a sense, or taking a look at what am I putting in the forefront of my brand and what is kind of back, because she still wants to talk about health stuff. In regards to your website, if you're, like I mentioned, if you're expanding new offers, maybe you want to redesign your website. So maybe it's not a full-on rebrand, but you're like, okay, I want to jazz things up a little bit. Or maybe you're just like, I just want new colors. And I'm redesigning my website for these new offers. And so let's just do new colors with this as well. I have a lot of people that are working on a rebrand that go through Build a Blissful Business, our signature program, because it does take you through step by step where you can redefine your business and you can go through all of those steps and reassess your foundation, reassess your offers. Offer still the same. Reassess your freebie and your lead magnet and your website, your homepage, the copy, the aesthetics of it. So you really kind of go through this process like you did in the beginning of your business to do a rebrand. Your rebrand may not be a complete 180 makeover. It may just be tweaks here and there, but I think going through those steps to make sure if you're going to put in the effort and the energy or pay someone, we do a lot of done for you work for website design, copy, and design of people that want to rebrand. So if you're going to invest in that service, then you are certainly going to want to make sure, okay, that you're going through these steps and that everything, you have everything, clarity on everything. There we go. Thank you. Clarity on everything to make sure that the money isn't wasted. And then after the fact, you're like, oh shoot, I want to change all this stuff because I really didn't think it through. So to recap everything that we went over in this episode, the reasons of why and when you might want to rebrand is to stay current and relevant in your industry. Maybe that calls for a rebrand, or to overcome a negative reputation. Maybe something happened and PR wise was a little negative. You've got to rebrand. To differentiate yourself from your competitors or other brands. Maybe your branding is too similar and you want to differentiate yourself, or to attract a new target audience. You're looking for a different target audience and it calls for a rebrand, or to reflect a change in business focus. Maybe you're expanding your offerings and therefore need a new rebrand, or maybe your brand is just really outdated and you need to up-level your brand. That would be another reason of why you would want to rebrand or when you would want to rebrand. And in addition to checking out the show notes for all of the content, don't forget to sign up for our next masterclass, How to Automate Your Online Business and Increase Your Sales While You Sleep. The link will be in the show notes. Again, it's kncreative.com/masterclass. I cannot wait to see you there at the end of February. The link is in the show notes and also below this video in the description. So until next week, my friend, remember, done is better than perfect. With action comes clarity. So go out there, take some imperfect action, and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you got some value out of this episode, I would love some support. And the best way to do that, so I can keep showering you with loads of actionable tips, is to hit that subscribe button. Leave a review or a comment if you're on YouTube, and share this podcast with a friend. And when you share it with a friend on social, please tag me so I can reshare your share in my stories. It's been an absolute pleasure hanging out. I appreciate the heck out of you for showing up. And now it's time for you to take imperfect action so you can work less and enjoy and earn a whole lot more.